Okay, we'll stand for the pledge. I would like to ask Marjorie Keith to lead us in the pledge. Marjorie is a longtime native of Putnam County, and for people that a little history lesson, where ShopRite is was Marjorie's grandpa's farm, and it was the dog pound at one point. So Marjorie, if you would lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
District number 1, Legislator Scuccinara.
Present.
District 2, Legislator Oliveria.
Present.
District 4, Legislator Nasarino.
Present.
District 5, Legislator Albano.
Here.
District 6, Legislator Gross.
Present.
District 7, Legislator Castellano.
Present.
District 8, Legislator LeBeau.
Present.
District 9, Legislator DeCarlo.
Present.
District 3, Chairman Osmer.
Present. Okay, before we start the meeting, I want to preface it very quickly with a couple of quick items here. This legislative body, we've been through a lot in the last month, and a lot of thought has gone into our decisions here tonight, and there's going to be some roll call votes here, and some of the things that will be passed tonight are not going to be by the majority of the legislature, just a slight majority. But I said this at the public hearing. I'm very proud of the people I work with. This county has some really good representatives. We all don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but I think you have a good group of honest people here that vote their heart and their mind, and they do what they think is right for the citizens. And also, as we sit here, we see the whole county government as the county executive's office. We see the budget of every department and every employee. And a lot of department heads and commissioners and different employees, they just see one piece of the pie, but we have to make some really, really hard decisions here. And believe me, I know everyone here would love to give everybody a raise and create new positions and everything, but we have to make some really, really tough, hard decisions. And it's painful, and we don't feel good about it. But we're doing what we think is best for the taxpayer and for the for the families trying to pay their mortgage and struggling out here. But I will say you do have a good group of people here. I know everyone's waiting for Joe and Barbara to keep quiet because they talk so much, and for Deanie not to come out of our closets, and So, but anyway, and with that, I just want to say one more thing, just to remind everybody, with your tax dollars, I said this at the public hearing, for every tax dollar you spend, okay, in your total tax bill for the year, approximately 70% goes to your school tax, approximately 22 cents goes to your town tax, 8 cents, out of the 8 cents that's remaining, 4 cents goes to your federal mandates. That leaves 4 cents. Out of that, 2 cents goes to your state mandates. We actually have to vote and create and devise our budget on 2 cents out of every dollar you spend. So we have control over a very, very tiny portion of your tax dollar. And we have to do a lot with a little. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to ask tonight, I would like to bring forward other business first. And there's one item on other business I would like to address first. Legislator LeBeau would like to make a motion, and how this vote goes is going to determine how the rest of the night goes. So we don't want to have to recreate a bunch of paperwork doing it at the end. So I'd like to ask for to other business first. We will address one item, and then we will address the rest of the other business at the end of the meeting.
Second to make it, move it up.
You second that, Dan? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Legislator Blu, I'd like to recognize you.
Thank you through the chair. We've had heated discussions over the last couple of meetings, the committee meetings, I don't know how many people attended them, with respect to the management increases. And the county executive funded particular increases in the budget, some of which were at 100%, 30% increases. And I felt that that was not appropriate. We decided to go down to 5% and fund these increases at a 5% level. I still feel that that is not acceptable in this economic climate. And also to have equity, I propose that across the board, all 100 managers receive a 1.5% increase, which comes out to $139,000 with the fringes. With the difference of giving the inconsistent raises, I call it cherry picking, to certain management, was just about $81,000 and change. But during the course of these discussions, we will be removing additional or defunding additional positions throughout the budget, which will defer the cost. And it will, I think, at the end of the night, will pretty much come out of the same 1.66 tax levy. So I hope that my colleagues support me on this. I know I've spoken to a lot of the employees. A lot of the employees, in particular, we're talking about management, are very upset because they have not gotten increases for, I would say, about going on almost 5 years now. And I think this creates, although we can't solve the inequity, it creates, I think it's a fair way of handling it, and that we, can tell all the managers that we understand everybody's doing more with less, but we value your work, and this is just a little something, if I have the votes tonight.
Okay, Legislator
I will second that for discussion.
for discussion.
Yes, sir.
Just clarify to the people, Legislator LeBeau is suggesting that a 1.5% tax increase across the board, and that would negate all the other different
Exactly.
pay increases that are in the text of the budget. And, go ahead, Sam.
Mr. Chairman, during our committee meetings, as all of you know, there was a lot of discussion back and forth, and it lasted through many hours of many meetings. The bottom line for me is that we all understand the inequity of the present pay system for our managers and our directors. They are not unionized. They do not get step. They do not get automatic increases. So it relies upon this seated body and the county executive to increase and give them a living wage and par with inflation. That's what this 1.5% hopes to do. I'm strongly in favor of it. I think that's the right way to go. Now, we also brought up the topic of the Blue Ribbon Committee, the Blue Ribbon Panel that existed about 5-6 years ago. I served on it, and it was very successful. We actually were on parity with all the surrounding counties, trying to adjust the salaries that we were going to award, and it was supposed to be done over the span of 3 years. Unfortunately, we did it in 2006, and then the floor fell out from under us with the Great Recession, and we could not do it any longer. What I would recommend, and I appeal to each and every one of you, go with the 1.5%, establish that Blue Ribbon Panel immediately to begin effective the first of the year, get this squared away, get parity and equity back in the managers and the directors' pay scale, and move on from there. And make next year the first year that we can implement it, and do it in a 2-year or 3-year phase, but stick with it. And again, I think that will carry us through this year. It's a reward to all of our directors and managers on jobs well done here in the county. Again, they're not unionized, they will get nothing unless we do this, or many of them will get nothing unless we do this, and it equalizes it and makes it fair. If we're worried about the inequity of the salaries, let's really fix it the way it was supposed to be done back in 2005. And that's my recommendation, and that's why I'm going to support the 1.5. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Roger.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, one of the things that came through this budget process is the requests from all the different departments is we're all over the lot. Percentages are all over the lot for requests for raises. Many folks certainly deserve it. Some were not even put in for raises, and it's shown that we're deserving. We've had some late additions to the budget as well, as late as the other day. I, like you, Sam, I want parity, I want some equity. I also think COLAs, that there have been no COLAs, so that has something we have to consider. So I'm supporting this particular request because I think it just brings a degree of fairness across the board. You're never going to please everybody. And there are some folks that their salaries are less than those folks that work for them in that various department. And that's not correct. We actually have a quagmire with these management salaries. I am concerned, of course, about the union negotiations which are going on, but I think we have to look to do something to get this situation, this quagmire, under control. So I'm going to support this 1.5%.
Anthony DiCarlo.
Yeah, just echoing on the sentiments of my fellow legislators, so we're arguing the point about the 1.5, yet if I'm sitting there and then looking at others who are getting inequitable differences, I'll use that same argument. So instead of saying 1.5 is the number, now you're giving some management 5. You can't have it both ways. So if we're going to have the argument that 1.5 is not fair, but we're giving some managers 5% or 8%, that's got to be taken off the board. Because you can't argue it both ways. Because in essence, what we are doing is we are creating merit pay. Based on what? What's the merit that warrants you getting that increase? I happen to agree with what Sam said, and I've said that over and over again. And, as a part of the democratic process, this is what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be debating and arguing and having different opinions. And I think that's healthy. I wish more governments would be able to do this and not rule by fiat. So I commend this board. But with that being said, just remember something. You are going to put that panel together. You're only asking for this year, and you're going to be equitable. Don't use the scapegoating of 1.5 or setting a precedent. You're setting more of a precedence by giving some people $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, $8,000. That's the reality of the matter. So please think about that before you cast your vote. Thank you.
Carl Bennett.
Yeah, I'm going to be voting no. Yeah, it's not a perfect world. I do believe in merit pay. When people step up and show us that they're performing over and above, we should recognize this. To make just a statement that everybody's going to get 1.5, in a perfect world, when finances are good, that would be a great thing. Let's all move on together. But everyone doesn't work the same. There are differences. There are some people that shine and have performed over and above. We're making a statement that everyone deserves some sort of raise. I would love to do that. I don't think it's reality. I prefer to surgically look at things when they come across to us and people give us justifications to address it at that time. If there's a reason and it makes sense, we try to go in that direction. 5-10% raises, you can't really look at that because some of these 5-10% raises are based on very low salaries. And again, there must be a justification for somebody to ask that. Request that kind of a raise. I'm not in favor for those types of raises either. The numbers are very tight. The bottom line is I think we should look at each individual case when it's brought to us and see if there's an adjustment is necessary. I don't feel comfortable just making blanket across the field adjustments. It's just saying that everybody's performing exactly the same, and I don't think that's the real world. Thank you.
Barbara.
I agree with Carl. This has been quite an eye-opening process for me, being my first budget. But I believe we have to look at each individual when they come before us and do the trust in the department head that their recommendations have merit. And I feel just giving everybody a blanket raise is not the way to go. I do understand the system is broken, and this system has been broken for quite a while from my perspective. So it's going to take a while to fix.
Anthony,
Part of the process. I mean, I have a right to continue on with discussion. That's just my right as a legislator. Here's the issue. Who says who's working harder than somebody else? We heard during the process that there are going to be people that have not had an adjustment for 4 or 5 years, and those same people are not going to get that adjustment in management this year. That's wrong. If you're telling me I can earn a salary increase and I have to do X, Y, Z to get that, then I know that. There's got to be some type of evaluative criteria to do that. So we are going to be voting tonight knowing that there are some management positions, and we were told this, that have been overlooked for years, and they're going to be overlooked again. That's plain not fair. That's why when you do it across the board, it's equitable. And then Legislator Urbano or anybody else who feels that, people who work hard, then put that as a part of your blue ribbon discussion next year. You're picking winners and losers, and government should not be doing it. Isn't that what we're seeing right now in the federal government, what's going on with Obamacare? We're telling people what you can get health-wise and what you can't. And now we're doing the same thing with our workers in Putnam County. It's wrong. You can get to where you want to go, study it, and do it that way, because you're not being fair. And you're going to sit here tonight, and if you vote this through, you have people who are not getting what they should be deserved, that they should get again. Thank you.
Carl, at this rate, we're going to be here till midnight.
Yeah, I gotta say, when we mentioned Obamacare, there we go, a blanket approach to everyone. It doesn't work. If people are rewarded based on performance, this whole world would work better. That's what we're striving for. We want to see people step up to the plate. I depend on department heads to come to me and say, this person is doing over and above. If a department head doesn't tell me, I don't know what's going on in the health department, the law department, I can't be there everywhere. So I am depending on people to come to me and say, here's where we need to do adjustments. I believe in the blue panel, whatever the heck it was, to really adjust things and try to get them closer. But it's not a perfect world. We don't just raise our hands to everybody and say, let's keep moving. There are people that perform over and above, and when they come to us, we should look at it on a case-to-case basis before the budget process is completed. And then we make decisions that are logical. When the time comes that we have extra money, and it will happen someday, we may make adjustments across the board because it's just part of the inflation process. That's my feeling.
No, let's Jenny go.
I will be voting no tonight. While I really feel strongly about consistency and parity, I feel that this process has been in place with many of my fellow colleagues who have been working within this process for many years, that the recommendations from the department heads are come forth during committee. That's when we vet, that's when we filter through, and that's when we make the decisions. Now we want to change the whole process in the name of consistency and parity overnight. I have sent an email to every one of my colleagues asking to be part of this Blue Ribbon Committee. I feel very strongly that this needs to be analyzed, this needs to be looked at, this needs to be visited. But I don't think that this can be done or should be done in basically snap judgment, because I think there's so much more that has to be looked at that's just beneath the surface. And I look forward to working on the Blue Ribbon Committee. I look forward to gathering the information that we need, and I look forward to looking at how this should be all brought forth so that we could have some consistency moving forward. But at this time, I will be voting no.
Sam?
Thank you, Ms. Shannon. You know, government, municipal government, schools, that's not the real world, unfortunately. It's not. We're governed by unions within those structures, and the unions don't have to worry about that. You know, God bless them. They unionize. They get their guaranteed step and their salary increase. But our managers and our directors do not. And that's an unfortunate thing. I have to agree with you, Anthony, that we're talking about fairness here. We're talking about really, intrinsically, what is right.
Jeannie?
Just a couple more comments. 1 year to do this 1.5, to reward all of our directors and managers, to, you know, tell them, you ladies and gentlemen are doing great work for the county of Putnam. And then, yes, do this blue ribbon panel. It works. It works. We had the system down. Unfortunately, we got slammed in the side of the head with the Great Recession. We're moving out of that, slowly but surely. And as long as the Fed keeps pumping money, I guess. The bottom line is, let's do this one thing this year, next year, revamp the system. Because again, you know, I stress it, government, the intrinsic nature of it is different from the private sector. It is. And we're going to hold hostage our managers and directors year after year. We tried to correct it. We got hit by forces beyond our control. now we can do something to address that and move forward. It's an issue of fairness.
Jeannie?
In closing, I just want to say Legislator Nassarino made a comment that this was somehow a knee-jerk reaction. Well, that's not the case. I've been here for 5 years, Ginny. I know a lot of the department heads, almost everyone here, and you know, this is unusual because, quite frankly, given the current economic status of the county, okay, having the highest foreclosure rates, and it continues to climb, people that are telling me that they're lucky to have their job and all of their perks, forget about getting a raise, if they had a car, if they had a cell phone, if they had any sort of additional pay, in lieu of a raise, that has been taken away. And the last 2 years, the idea that we were just going along with these raises this time is because we have, I think, a fairly new legislature. This would be unheard of for Tony Hay or Dan Birmingham to sit here and we even have a rational discussion about a 30% pay increase and a 100% pay increase. So now, I thought as some sort of compromise, we would do 1.5%. I wouldn't do anything because I think things are very bad and we don't know what's coming. And now the gasoline is dropping in price, which means we may be facing a deficit, a sales tax deficit. And we don't know what's in the future. Err on the side of caution, but to give certain managers these 5% raises and 8% raises, I think is not fair at all and not sustainable. And to me, 1.5% as a compromise across the board, I think is the right thing to do. And I know that I have never seen the morale of this county as low as it is now. Never. And we have people that are good, loyal employees that have been working here for quite some time, and they've been doing more with less.
And I certainly agree. I certainly agree with that. But what I mean by that is that this is the first time that this has been introduced.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Has this been introduced
Yes.
before? I
Yes.
don't know.
Yes, it
But
has.
then,
Yes.
you've been
Across
here
the
for
board.
5 years, you've been here for 20 years. Why wasn't this addressed early on?
We
then?
did,
You
the
didn't
Blue
have-
Ribbon panel.
We didn't have the funding to make up the
Blue Ribbon Panel was
inequity.
2006, so that was many years ago. So for the last 5 years, this defunct system that we are saying is in place, we should have recognized it early on. What I'm saying is that I agree that it might not be the best system in place, but this legislative board has worked within this framework for many, many years, many of whom were sitting on this legislature for many years. Now we need to take a look at it. I got this budget October 1st. In 2 weeks' time, I don't think that's ample enough time for the new legislatures to really look and analyze to see how this is going forward, because I think there's more to this process than just a 1.5 raise. There's legacy costs involved, there's pension costs involved, there's a lot of expenses that will be incurred as a result of it. And to just say quickly, this is the way to go, I think takes more of a comprehensive review.
And
That's all I
to
have.
go back, everybody that is elected.
You know what, Jeannie, I'd like to have,
Well,
you
I
spoke
want to
twice.
answer
No,
because she's answering me, so I want to respond to.
Well, she's answering you one twice, Jeannie
No.
went twice, Joe hasn't spoken yet, Joe's asking to speak, and then I'd like to move this. Joe?
Well, I certainly want to say a few things. I think the timing is not right. I understand the cost of living increase and all that, but I do believe there's a process in place, and I do believe we have had employees come forward who have been, we're entrusted by their supervisors who have said they've gone above and beyond, and we did cut down some of their raises. We cut down a considerable amount of their raises, and that's our part of this process. There are union employees here who don't have a contract, and this is not fair to them. Before I start working on management, I'd rather get them resolved. So that's my feeling. I don't think the timing is right. I don't like the across-the-board 1.5% despite whatever you performed at the last year. And by the way, we have good jobs here in Putnam County government, and if you feel you're being underpaid, you have the right to leave and go get a better job. That's how I feel about it. I don't like the across-the-board raise, and then that's all I'm going to say about it.
Okay, I'm going to make a statement, and we're going to move this. Quickly, I want to say, I do have to agree with Ginny that Sam, when I first sat here 5 years ago, I was as green as could be. And when I first became cognizant of the inequality between management and labor. I was wondering why the senior legislators hadn't solved this. I know you said because of the stock market crash, whatever, but that was, the fact is, very soon, we have to tie the labor raises in with the management raises. They have to be connected so we don't go through this process every year. I believe the people sitting here that are going to be sitting here next year do have the talent to do it. We've been talking about it for the last 2 months. And I think the Blue Ribbon Panel should be, I like to call it something else. But anyway, I think that's got to be addressed. I will give Anthony DiCarlo credit because a year ago in January, Anthony DiCarlo said, we have to get ahead of this now. We have to talk about this now, not at budget time. And Anthony did say that. I back him up with that. But on the other hand, we failed to push it. Well, I don't want to say that. There was a lot on the plate. It was a new administration, the first year of the administration. Everyone was trying to get a handle on everything. It's a young legislature, but as I said when we opened the meeting, I think you have a very good legislature here. They're young, but they want to do good things, and it will be done. But the department heads, when they went to the budget this year, a lot of the department heads rearranged their budgets, and they actually have a lesser budget than they came in last year, and they made their budget cuts in other areas of their budgets to fund the raises for their employees that are going to get some of the raises, and that has to be taken into account. That's what it is. Anyway. It's got to be addressed. I believe next year's the year to be addressed. We'll see how the vote goes. Diane, I asked for a roll call vote. Yes means you're going to vote for the 1.5% raise across the board. No means we're going to go with the text of the budget here.
Legislator Albano.
No.
Legislator Castellano.
No.
Legislator DiCarlo.
Yes.
Legislator Gross.
Yes.
Legislator LeBeau.
Yes.
Legislator Nasarino.
No.
Legislator Oliverio.
Yes.
Legislator Scuccinaro.
No.
Chairman Osmer.
No.
Motion fails.
Okay, it was a good discussion. There was logic and good points by both sides. Okay, now we're going to go from the other business. We're going to go to item 3A, the Budget Finance Committee, which is all of us. All right, item number 3A, legislative office supplies. So we can move along.
Just a or nay, unless it's...
I'm just going to say all in favor or not, and if anyone wants to have a roll call vote, just say roll call, and then we'll have a roll call vote.
Good.
Okay, first item, legislative office supplies. We're going to cut it from $5,500 to $500, and I'll move it with the equipment rental. We're going to cut the equipment rental by $200, so all in favor?
Aye.
All right, 3B, the county exec's office. We're going to cut $170 off of their budget for printing costs and furniture. All in favor?
Aye.
County Clerk's Office, Education and Training. Mike Bartolotti agreed to this. We're going to cut their education and training by $500 from $3,000 to $2,500. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the Southeast Museum. We're going to actually increase their request from $27,000 to $30,000. I think do we want to have a roll call? Roger, do you want to, and Joe, this is your district?
No, I think we all agree on it.
Yeah.
We'll agree. They do a good job, and I have to commend the Southeast Museum and the Putnam County Historical Society, which is in Cold Spring. They're really our only two facilities that have, besides Dennis's office, that have archival abilities, and they do a good job. So, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Cornell Cooperative Extension. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. This is for my town, the town of Kent. We do not have a senior center, and Lake Carmel Community Center, they let us use their facility, and we funded a lift for them for the handicap for the wheelchair up the stairs, and we found that the electric wasn't sufficient, so this is a $5,000 to go to the Kent seniors. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, coroners. The coordinator of coroners, it was requested for a $5,576 raise. We cut that down to $4,576 with the FICA. Any other discussion on this?
No.
All in favor?
No.
Oh,
I can't.
Daniel, one no.
Because these are all at 5 and 8%.
Yeah, if you want to vote no, just when we're done, just make sure Diane hears it. Okay,
Maybe we should do, Rich, if I could, maybe we should do the roll call vote. I mean, we usually stay here till 11 o'clock at night. We're currently on the speed train tonight.
you know me, I'm all hyped up all the time.
I think we should.
Unless there's an issue, I don't,
No.
Well, I'm going to be voting no, so.
just say no at the end, there's no reason for the roll call. Okay, county executive, confidential secretary, salary adjustment, it was requested for $9,500, we interpolated to $5,000. All in favor?
No.
One no.
No.
Chip, you know? I do.
Anthony's not.
It's the same
Are
issue.
you no, Anthony?
Here's the reality of that. If I wanted the 1.5 across the board, you're asking me then to vote contrary to what I said, because then we'll give these people their salaries, so that's why. I'm
Well, I don't know if you want to do it abstain.
No,
I don't think you did the abstain in the,
Consistent, no.
okay. Okay, item 3I, payroll manager. Asked 5856, tentative by the legislature 4618. All in favor? No. Two noes? Three J, Health Department, fiscal manager, requested $69.35, adjusted by the legislature to $49.35, a difference of $21.53. All in favor?
No.
Two noes. Right?
I vote yes.
Okay. K, County Historian's Office, requested $13,593, adjusted by the legislature to $7,000, difference of $7,097. All in favor?
No, I'm a no on that also.
No.
Three noes?
Yes.
Okay. Office for Disabilities, it's basically just a title change from clerk to typist. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Office for the Aging. I have three, yes. Office for the Aging, a food service manager.
That's a new position, yeah.
What's that, Sam?
That's a new position.
Do you want to speak about it?
No, it's necessary.
Okay.
Believe me, it is. With
All in favor for this?
Aye.
Okay, all. 3N, District Attorney, Criminal Investigator.
No, part-time typist.
Oh, do I have, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yes, you're right, Sam. Part-time typist, the District Attorney's Office. All in favor?
If I can
Yeah,
talk about
discussion.
specifically, it's moving from a temporary line to a full-time.
Yes.
which really, in the long run, equalizes the cost, so that this is a no-brainer.
It's a part-time position.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now 3O, District Attorney, Criminal Investigator, creation of a new position.
All in favor of it.
I'd like to...
Discussion?
Yes, discussion, please.
Second, someone?
Second for discussion.
I still request that this be put in contingency. The position is good. We vote on the position, but with the add-on or the addendum to move it to contingency. I really, at this point in time, am uncomfortable assigning this to either department, sheriff's or the DA's. I would like to hold this. We have time. It won't take effect until the first of the year. We can continue, at least I can continue my investigation, because I'm finding more and more that I'm leaning towards this being in the sheriff's department, I have to tell you.
Do I have a second for that? Or you want to make a comment?
Contingency.
Okay.
I just pointed out that it's in the district attorney's bylaws, he can have this position. There's no question it's needed. We've all had that discussion.
No, we know it's legal. I'm not arguing that.
Okay. I feel we should move ahead with this. We need it as soon as possible. I don't think there's any reason to leave it contingency. Okay?
Do I have a second for Sam's motion for contingency? Okay, and, all right, before we vote on this, we'll do a roll call on this. I think it's a very needed position, and I would love to see the Kent Police Department, the Carmel Police Department, the Sheriff's Office promote female investigators. I think we need them in the county, in all police forces. So with that, I'll have a roll call vote on item number 3O.
Legislator Albano.
Yes.
Legislator Castellano.
Yes.
Legislator DeCarlo.
Yes.
Legislator Gross.
Yes.
Legislator LeBeau.
Yes.
Legislator Nasarino.
Yes.
Legislator Oliveria.
Yeah, I believe in the position. I'm going to vote yes, but again, I would have preferred to have a contingency, so I'm a yes vote on that.
Legislator Scucci.
Yes.
Chairman Ott.
Yes. Okay. Okay, item 3P, Planning Department Deputy Commissioner. Before we vote on this, I believe, Clem, I have to make a motion. We wanted to put this in sub-contingency. And so do I need a motion on that first?
It's already, you already approved
It's
that.
already in there.
Yeah, through Budget and Finance.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Highways and Facilities Deputy Commissioner. This was put forward, it was originally put forward as a $15,000 raise to the Deputy Commissioner. It was adjusted by the legislature to a $5,000 raise to bring the position up to what the previous Deputy Commissioner received. So with that, I believe it's, well, all in favor?
I'm a no on that.
All right, 3 noes. Anthony, you're considered right. Okay, thank you. Okay. Putnam County Tourism Promotion Agency. All right, this is $15,000. I'd like to approve this, but I'd like to make a motion to bring this out of sub-contingency.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call vote on that, please.
Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. You can't do that.
We want to bring this out of sub-contingency. It was put in.
It was, you made,
It's not in, so
it is. It was moved through,
it's in the line, the budget has it in the line. The motion
Right.
here is to move the sub-contingency. If you don't want to move the sub-contingency, then you vote against the sub-contingency. You don't need the motion.
no, and he wants to take it out of sub-contingency.
It's not there.
It's not there.
This motion moves it to subcontingency.
I was confused because the planning department, we said was in sub-contingency, $80,000.
Well, because we voted yes
You would
on
vote
it, I
in
mean, that's
favor
where
of
it is.
this.
Okay.
You would vote in favor of this, to keep it in sub-contingency.
All right, so Clem, clarify to me, if you vote yes, what are we voting for?
If you vote
To keep
against
it on
the
sub-contingency.
sub-contingency.
Right.
And if you vote no, it's going to be passed, but do we have to vote again after that?
No, it's going to be still in the line that the budget.
It's going to be in the line, but not in sub-contingency. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Legislator Albano.
No.
Legislator Castellano.
No.
Legislator DeCarlo.
Yes.
Legislator Gross.
No.
Legislator LeBeau.
Yes.
Legislator Nasarino.
No.
Legislator Oliveri.
Yes.
Legislator Scuccinaro.
No.
Chairman Ahmed.
No.
Motion fails.
Okay. 3S, Putnam County Economic Development Corporation. I'd like to ask for the same reason as the other one. I'd like to have a roll call vote. Yes means it stays in sub-contingency. No means it goes, it just stays in the budget line.
Discussion? Second for discussion?
Senator? yeah.
Thank you. Both of these items I brought forward as committee to put them in sub-contingency so we would have control over these monies before they're spent. How any of my colleagues can vote against that the legislature would, so we would have cost controls on these fundings. $25,000 is a lot of money to be giving over to the EDC without having them coming in to us and explain to us what it is they're going to use the money for at the time they're going to use it. I can't even imagine why someone would vote no against that. We sit here after issue when the money is being spent and we have no control over it. We don't even know what's going on. And now we have 2 opportunities here, both of which are with outside agencies, to put this funding in sub-contingency so we can follow it. And I don't have unanimous support.
Any other discussion?
I echo legislator LeBeau's concerns. I do.
Anyone else?
It's self-evident.
After the last meeting, I did speak with the tourism director, Libby Pataki, and Megan Taylor, the EDC director, and they explained to me that they need to have this money available. Opportunities come up, and by the time you go to a meeting and it goes to committee and then it goes to the full, the opportunity is lost. So that's the reason why
Can I,
anyway, Barbara?
I'm on the ECHO board, I want to say
I
something.
agree with that. $25,000 is a very low budget for
Please, Anthony.
advertising. And this is what she wants to use this for, is advertising. We have to step up the game. We have to be in it to win it. And I vote yes for this.
Carl?
Yeah, I look at it like it's a little bit of micromanaging. Like, I have faith that this is going to be put to good use. During the course of the year, we're going to see what's going on, and we're going to have to vote on budgets in the future. I'm not losing sleep. I don't think I have to really pay tight attention to this because I know it'll be put to good use. So
Roger?
I'm certainly going to vote yes. Ms. Taylor has certainly demonstrated she's out there, she's getting things happening, she's going to vote no. I'm going to vote yes.
No, you have to vote no.
Oh, yes, that's good, Roger. Oh, yes.
No means yes.
We're voting no, that means yes.
Oh, yes. You're on the right track. Your heart's there.
Jenny?
I agree. I think that these two entities need to use their discretion to spend this money and make the county flourish with the things they want to do. That's the objective of the EDC, that's the objective of tourism. Let them have the ability to do their job accordingly. And trust them as well.
I could, Rich,
Jeannie?
this idea with trust, we're supposed to process information, it's not about trust. Okay, we're the finance board, we question everything. We've been sitting here time and time again, looking like fools because money is being spent on projects and issues that we have no idea about. And to my colleague, Albano, for you to make comments that this is not a big deal, this is $25,000, and that this is your job. Our job as legislators is not the photo ops in front of the grocery store openings and all the parties. This is our job, the budget. $25,000 is a lot of money. They just had a cruise, which, by the way, I'm going to request an audit, which I don't understand how that has anything to do with economic development. They came in and Megan told us she wanted to redo the website. Well, I looked at the website. The website already has been redone. So I don't know how this money is going to be spent. And honestly, I'm just blown away that this is just a measure of enacting cost control so we can follow the money before it's spent. And this is just moving it into sub-contingency.
Mr. Chairman.
Carl and Roger.
This is a big issue. What I'm saying is I have faith in that department to do what needs to be done. This
You
isn't-
shouldn't have faith in
Danny,
any
please let him speak.
Let me speak.
You've got to do your homework.
Danny?
I'm sorry, but I didn't see the discrepancies and the issues that you mentioned during the course of the year. I didn't see the money being wasted. Again, people make statements, money's out the window, there's discrepancies, there's things we don't understand. Please show me them, because I haven't seen them. There's things I question, there's things I'd like to look at and pay attention to. This is something I think is a reasonable budget for what we're trying to do. That economic cruise brought together a lot of players that could add a lot of value to the economic development of Putnam County. These are the lenders, these are different businesses. We all want to be on the same page and be thinking in the same direction. I welcome the opportunity to be with people that are thinking positive and looking into the future. I hope we have more events like that because I want to meet these people and I want to see where we're going.
This is about
Roger.
oversight.
Danny, please wait your turn. Roger.
I think a simple way to satisfy Legislator LaLue's concern is the Economic Development Committee could ask for a monthly statement from Ms. Taylor as to how it's going, where the funds were spent that month. And if there's nothing spent that month, it's just a zero report. But that would give the Economic Development Committee an idea where it's going. That should satisfy all our concerns.
Katie, would you like to speak again?
Yeah, I would. I sit on the Economic Development Committee, and if any of you were present, she came to us and asked for an additional $25,000. She said part of which is for a new website. The website has already been changed. So that's after the fact. So what is this money going to be spent on? And not to mention, I'm going to stop there. Okay.
Anthony?
Yeah, just point of order. So if this was in some contingency, it came out of order in there. So if you then got correspondence from the specific manager of that department saying this is what we do, then that should have been shared with all of us. I didn't get anything on it. It's the first time I'm hearing it now. Now you spoke after we had that meeting to say, what are you doing? I clearly understand. I wasn't given a follow-up on it. And I agree. I think, Roger, your point is well taken. And quite frankly, every board that gives out monies to be able to do some of this stuff should ask for it every single point in time of where they're at. Just the same thing like now. Okay, so that money, at the end of the year, Bill could put together to show us how much of it was spent or wasn't spent. So there's a way to make it a win-win moving forward. The issue was, evidently, the committee, the audit committee, it must have passed out, I don't know by how many to put in sub-contingency, and now we're passing it back out. So had it been presented that way from the get-go, some of these questions wouldn't have came up. So that's part of the discussion, because you met with her and asked her what do you need the money for, and it's fine. But just say, this is what it goes to, and then say, okay, here's what was spent this year, here's what's going to probably be guesses what's going to be spent the following year, that's all.
Okay,
It's not an issue.
Anthony, I did not have a meeting as a chairman. actually ran into Megan in the parking lot. But you had every right to call them up and ask them why. And I think they're good and honorable people, and I trust them, and she's in her first year of her job. And
Which has nothing to do with trust.
Let me finish.
When you say to me, it's my right to
Anthony, I'm
tell
speaking now, I'm
mine.
speaking. And in reference to what Carl said, I've been in the construction business for 30-something years. When they stopped doing, I'll just use one of my stupid examples. When they stopped doing cement block foundations and they switched to concrete foundations, I went to all these business seminars. I learned how to do that. I learned how to I learned how to switch and move with the times, and that's what we have to do. And our EDC, I see a lot of empty buildings in this county, and we need. This is a good young person. She has a lot of original ideas, and I agree with Carla. I think they need their hands free with this to spend this money or spend it wisely. And with that, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote.
Wait, Rich, I just want to clear something up.
This is your fourth time speaking,
Yeah, thank
okay?
you. And this is the way the process goes. I don't know why we have a time limit this evening. This has
talk.
always been the budget process. I just want to correct something that was said. Okay, Anthony said we can go to Bill Carlin. These are outside agencies we're talking about. Bill Carlin does not have the books on these outside agencies. You have to deal with the outside agency. That's why I'm asking for these cost controls, by placing these funds in a sub-contingency. That's it.
And I believe they're going to lose opportunities if they have to wait 2 months to actually get the approval to spend the money. And with that, we'll
That's
roll
all
call
plan.
vote. What's that?
Never mind, go on.
He said it's full planning.
Now, no means yes, what do we get, and what's the...
No means yes, Roger. Just like when you were in high school.
And that's what John Kerry told me, but I wanted to be clear.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Legislator Albano.
No.
Legislator Castellano.
No.
Legislator DeCarlo.
Yes.
Legislator Gross.
No.
Legislator LeBeau.
Yes.
Legislator Nasarino.
No.
Legislator Oliverio.
Yes.
Legislator Scuchamari.
No.
Chairman Ahmad.
No.
Motion fails.
Okay. All right. The EDC, we did that. I run the sales tax revenue. I'd like to, Sam, I'm going to defer to you on this.
Yeah.
I'd like to leave this to the end because I'd like to find out where our numbers are, and then we can adjust the sales
I
tax.
understand. Right now, if we were to end the meeting right now with no changes having been made, that would take effect.
But there's changes.
But
So,
maybe changes I'm not aware of coming up.
so Clem, what do? Just skip over this for now?
Skip it. Yeah.
Okay, I don't need a motion on that.
No.
Okay, no. I'm gonna get this down pat, and then we'll be there next year. Okay, other business, which we don't have to make it, we're already on there. 4A, Parks and Recreation, Maintenance and Repairs. This is just, actually, this is the ghost of Tony Hay. We're just transferring money that was approved in the budget to sub-contingency, so, for that. So,
Discussion.
go ahead, Deanie.
Why is this money being transferred from the main line to sub-contingency?
It's a different animal. I'd like to answer that because when you have opportunities for promoting something or jumping on a particular program, you have to act immediately. This was done because when they were doing the improvements to the farm, there was money just going out, and it was for fixing the siding on the old barn, the old place, and the doors, and we didn't know what it was going for, and then we asked at one point what it was for, and they couldn't answer it. So this you can get a solid list. This money went for, new locks or new shingles or whatever, and that's the difference
It's
here.
the same theory of what I said.
Same theory, but different.
I'll second it, Carmen.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item 4B is a chargeback, probation department. It's just a chargeback from probation to records management. It's just tidying up the books. All in favor?
Aye.
Second.
That's second, yeah.
I'm sorry, you're right. You have to ask for a second for this. It's my fault. Okay, 4C, capital projects. It's basically the same thing. The ghost of Tony Hay, minor renovations. We have a $200,000 figure in there to go to sub-contingency so we can, to see what
Track
it's
the
for.
money?
Track the money, different theory, Deanie. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I have some other business here. We received correspondence. Okay, I received a few correspondence here. First is the county law department. There was a transfer of one of the attorneys in the law department, went to the Department of DSS. And the county attorney asked a couple of days ago to have, and with the transfer, it went to the budget line to the Department of DSS, and the county attorney asked to have that position replaced as well as another position. Jennifer, I see you back there. I think your department does a great job. But we just, I mean, I don't know how the vote's going to go, but I don't know how we can afford it. I don't know how we can do it. I'd love to give you the people, but as I said at the beginning of the meeting, we have to go through every position, and you're going to have to survive without them. So, any other comments on this? Okay, I'd like to have a roll call vote on this, please.
Give me a second.
I need a second.
Second.
Anthony? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Legislator Albano.
No.
Legislator Castellano.
No.
Legislator DeCarlo.
No.
Legislator Gross.
No.
Legislator LeBeau.
No.
Legislator Nasarino.
No.
Legislator Oliverio.
No.
Legislator Scuchamara.
No.
Chairman Ahmad.
No. Okay, let me just load this here. Okay, the next correspondence was from the Department of Social Services. There's a position there. We did dissolve the Youth Bureau last year and combine two departments, and we did have a substantial savings. I'm going to support this request. It's a request of a salary raise, but I want to adjust the salary raise. Well, first to $2,500 salary raise. The former head of the Youth Bureau is now in the Department of Social Services, and it was kind of a glitch because it's the first time in the budget process that the person was in that position, and I know that it's not for good practice to accept late requests, for the budget. It really it's not a good standard for us to do. But in this case, I can understand why it was a mistake. And so, with that, any other discussion for anyone? Barbara.
I agree with you. I think it goes back to what I said before, that each department has to be looked up separately, and there are extenuating circumstances, and I think this is one of them.
Give me a second.
Ginny and then Sam.
I'll make a second.
Okay, and then you also need to know that based on current salary, this is just a bit under 5%, which is what I supported originally for those raises that were controversial. 5% I thought was pretty fair. So and certainly the individual deserves this stipend, and that really is what it is. I know just the other day we had a real emergency at our building at the high school. And this individual stepped up to the plate big time, took care of it. Boy, it was done so quick, it spun heads in my building. I couldn't believe how fast this young person who was in need of some intensive care received it. So, absolutely.
Anyone else?
Discuss.
Ginny and then Jeannie.
While I acknowledge the value of this person and all that they do, I still feel strongly that we have to honor the process. We had a budget process, we vetted, we had all the initiatives brought forth during that process. We had a public hearing. And to bring forth this request at a late date seems to defy the very process that we are trying to honor, so I will be voting no.
Jeannie?
Keeping with my theme, unfortunately, I have to vote no, but I know the person, and the person that goes beyond and beyond, not only as a consummate professional, but also as a gentleman. He's a pleasure to work with, so unfortunately, I have to be voting no.
And Roger.
I totally agree with what's been said. He's an outstanding individual. He certainly deserves this and more, but if we stick to the process or we don't stick to the process. And that's what makes this whole situation very difficult. So I will also vote no.
Good logic on both. Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, and again, we're just, kind of echoing the theme. It's either we do or we don't have a process. It has nothing to do with Joe. But I go back to saying it's over. I mean, the horses are out of the stable. The barn doors have been closed. But there's other people, not just Joe, okay, who have been overlooked in the process. And that's part of the struggle. So although Joe is an incredible person, I think we all know that. You know, there's other people out there that we know who are similar to Joe, who didn't get anything tonight. So in order to be equitably fair, and I know Joe is, you know, a person who understands that, I mean, you know, it's got to be equitable across the board.
Sam, again.
You have to understand that this was a position that was going to receive the stipend from the get-go. It was left out because of the switch in departments. We received a letter from the commissioner stating that it was the commissioner's error of misplacement of this stipend that caused this to happen. So in my mind, the budgetary process was conformed to, there was an error made. We are human, we make mistakes, that's why they put, you know, erasers on pencils. On this particular case, and that's why I voted for some of the pay increases and some I did not. If they were within that reasonable 5% thing, they got my vote. If they weren't, I voted no on it. This is in that, for me, my 5% cap, and it would have been in our budgetary packet if that era of this switch of departments had not occurred. So let's not blame the individual or the process. The process is not flawed. There was an error made, a clerical error made. We can correct that tonight, and I think that's only fair.
Carl?
Yeah, just simply, I want to say I agree with Sam. In other words, we'd like this to come in early, but here we are at the last minute. We still have time to correct
It was intended to be.
So, at the very least, make some kind of adjustment on this towards what Rich said. So I'll be supporting it.
Everyone? All right. And it was good logic on both sides, and that's all you can ask for?
I asked, the correspondence indicated there was a mistake.
Yes, it did say that.
So
Correspondence
I
did
think
say
I'm going
that.
to change my vote.
It was the commissioner.
I can understand with the departments changing and all that, I go with you on that.
So my motion would be to increase the salary of this position by $2,500. Do I have a second?
25, I thought it was 5,000.
You want to do the, I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what the request was.
I'm fine with that, because we dissolved the
That's
whole
under
department.
5%, so.
No, I'm fine with that. All right, then I make a motion,
The motion was not for 2,500, are you amending your motion?
no, I'm gonna,
So you're going to stay with the
I
5,000?
make a motion to pull my foot out of my mouth. I'll make the motion as requested for the $5,000.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Good.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Legislator Albano.
Yes.
Legislator Castellano.
No.
Legislator DeCarlo.
No.
Legislator Gross.
Yes,
Legislator LeBeau.
No.
Legislator Nasarino.
No.
Legislator Alvario.
Yes.
Legislator Scuchamaro.
Yes.
Chairman Nachman.
Yes,
Motion
Close
carries.
votes. Close votes. Yeah, pass.
it passed 5-4, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right, that's my list. Anyone else, other business?
No other business, Mr. Chairman, but I'd like to go back to the sales tax revenue and increase that.
Wait, any other legislation?
We have another. Okay.
I'm sorry,
No, go
but I
ahead.
have a couple of things.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
I want to actually add something. To the Putnam Arts Council, we had gone across the board to all the outside agencies, and they unfortunately were left out. I would like to increase their county contribution, which is $10,000. I want to increase it by $3,000. It doesn't go to them directly. They serve, they serve as an umbrella. Okay, other cultural events come to them and they fund the projects. So they usually get applications close to $50,000 worth of application. People ask for them to fund their project. So this is in a small way acknowledging their impact on the county. It's Putnam Arts Council. So if I have a second.
Discussion?
Yeah,
Discussion, Sam?
I'll second for discussion, but how,
Okay, we funded in two parts. They receive $38,225.
right,
And then we give them $10,000 that they distribute
Right.
as an umbrella organization. They don't use it themselves.
Oh.
So
what brings them now on the budgetary process that they weren't there before?
because they just assumed they would be denied, and since all the other agencies came forward, and again, they receive $50,000 50,000, usually, you know, they are inundated with applications, people that have shows, people that are doing different projects.
No, I understand.
So it would be
It's a
going
great
towards,
organization.
yeah, and it's also tourism, you know, we keep talking about tourism, and one of the key sectors of tourism is arts and culture. So, you know,
Sam, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. My concern with Dee is that there were other outside agencies that were under the same mindset. If I ask, I won't receive. But then there were those that took the step and did ask, and they did receive. I'm torn by this because, you know, that again opens up proverbial can of worms.
well, there's
that
not
we talked
anybody
about.
left. I think everybody across the board got something except this
No,
office.
no,
The
that-
Southeast Museum.
That's
That's not the case.
Oh.
Not every single outside agency received some. Nobody was cut,
Right.
thank God, because in the old days, we used to cut. Nobody got cut. Some got increased, and then some came and asked for additional, and we gave it to them. This comes a little bit late, and
Well, I'm asking for them.
I understand, and
We don't have
that's
the
good.
votes.
Leave it to them.
Any other discussion? I'll ask for a roll call, because I do support the arts, and I think they do a really good job. So,
Is there a second?
is there a second?
I'll second.
Anthony,
No,
second?
I second your
All right, roll call vote on adding 3,000, can we keep it contingency?
3,000.
What, we didn't keep your 5,000 that I voted for.
A roll call vote for $3,000 for the Putnam Arts Council. That's the organization, right, Jeannie?
Yes.
Okay.
I can give you the number. Do you need the number, Diane? It's 7560. It's on page 150, the budget.
Richard,
Mr. Chairman?
Oh,
you know, I'm a supporter of the arts myself, but I feel like I have no information on this. I don't have any backup for this. And it's late, Deanie. It's late.
okay.
Okay. So you might
Roll
boss
call.
Barbara there?
We vote.
No, I think I deserve a little, we were in caucus. I think you could have mentioned it
Well, we
in
were
there.
busy talking about something
No,
else.
you could
We
have
were
said,
talking about
this is
Tilly
another-
Foster.
This is another issue
When
I'd
it
like
should
to
have, we should have
bring
been
up.
addressing the budget,
Well, this is part of the budget, is it not?
I wasn't there, I don't know.
not what was discussed, had nothing to do with the budget.
Okay, let's do our vote.
Legislator Albano.
Economic tourism, I vote yes.
Legislator Castellano.
No.
Legislator DeCarlo.
Yes.
Legislator Gross.
No.
Legislator LeBeau.
Yes.
Legislator Nasarino.
No.
Legislator Oliverio.
Boy, I'm torn on this one, I really am. Son of a gun. I've got to vote no, though, because it just appeared, just this second. I'm a no.
Legislator Scuccinaro.
No.
Chairman Acton.
Yes,
Motion failed.
Thank you.
okay. Good logic again by both sides. All right, gonna go around, anyone
Yeah, I want to go, I have, let's see.
for the business?
Let me see. I want to go through. Here. I'm looking at, thanks, Joe. I want to have discussion. It's under the county executive's budget. It's for the Director of Constituent Services at $44,000. And to me, this is, you know, bloating bureaucracy. I don't see the necessity of this position. I want to have a discussion about it.
Second.
Go ahead. Second by Anthony.
This person is driving the county executive around, and I think that this should be defunded tonight.
Are you making a motion, Dean?
Yeah.
We have a second to
I'm having
defund
discussion if
the
anybody wants to
director.
discuss it. This person
Anthony, second already.
is driving the county executive around at $44,000. This isn't a necessary position. Every public function I go to, he's driving the county executive during the day, on the clock. So this is a waste of taxpayer money.
Any other discussion?
My only concern, Mr. Chairman, was funding taken away from the clerical position to help fund this position. That was my question. Remember, we agreed to a raise for a clerical position in the administrative office.
Right.
And I'm wondering if the funding for the person you're talking about was taken from that position. That's why they want to refund the clerical position.
Oh, well, I don't know,
Make sense?
I don't know. Well, the thing is that they reconfigured the budget. And that's why the position that, the adjustment here for the secretary, okay, was so low, and that's why they asked for an adjustment, because this position I'm referring to was newly created. This was not an existing position in the administrative office. It was created. And when we attended Mahopac High School with the installation of the SPO officers at 8 o'clock in the morning, this gentleman drove the county executive and walked around the place like he was doing security. I mean, I think this is terrible, that we're wasting money on this position. And as fiscal conservatives, and at a time when people can't afford to pay their taxes in this county, this is not a necessary position. I'd like to see it removed.
Okay, any other discussion? I have a couple of things to say here. This position, for the first-year legislators, the county executive took the budget that they inherited, and they just redistributed it with more positions that were in that before, and Sam, you know that. This position here, granted, one duty is driving, but he is also a troubleshooter, and he takes a lot of the phone calls of citizens. And I know I just finished working on a project with him. I had a person in Kent where there was a house that the county just inherited for forfeiture, and they had a van in the front yard, and all the houses on the street were beautiful houses, and this van had a tree growing through it. It was rusting away, and they could not get rid of the van. And these people were done, and because they could not get a title to this van. And this individual, the director of constituent services, helped me get rid of this, and he does this on a day in, day out, daily basis. So it's a misrepresentation to say he's a driver. That's just humiliating, and it's not needed. So I want to defend him, and that was just unnecessary. Carl?
Yeah, Rich, I tend to agree with you, and I will say this, the county executive, I've seen attend more meetings and functions than I've seen any other county executive in the past. And I'll be honest, I'm at the bottom here, but when I go to meetings and stuff, I'd like to sit and read something or spend a few minutes to be prepared. It wouldn't seem crazy to me to have a driver, maybe not solely a driver. Like you said, I do see him doing other things, but there are times when I think it may be appropriate. She's a woman, she's out at night, and if you're with another county employee, it's almost like carpooling together. It makes a little bit of sense to me. As far as I have dealt with him in the past on different issues, and I see that he does fill different gaps. And again, looking at, it wasn't a position over and above what we had a few years ago, in a sense, when you look at salary. In other words, we're in the same ballpark with salaries. So, based on if the county executive thinks it's something that she needs, and we're not asking for monies way over and above where we were at, I think it's appropriate to say if it's necessary, I have no problem with it. And I do see him doing other things.
Roger? Mr. Chairman. And my concern is that I know the county executive travels a lot in evening events all over the county.
Yeah.
And to be on those lonely roads going from Garrison or whatever into this area, coming to Brewster, back down to Mahopac, I just feel a little more comfortable with a little bit of security. I mean, we do it for the Board of Elections at night when they're there late. We have a guard there. So I think there's some logic to the security piece of it.
Anthony and Ginny?
Since there seems to be some question, and, maybe the questions, when it came up a little earlier, we could answer this, but again, we gotta remember, it's the position, not the person, please, because I think as human nature, we all get caught up with that. So please, the entire night, we're talking about positions and not individual people, okay? If there are questions, there's no reason why we can't ask for, as you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, some of the responsibilities, kind of some of the things that took place this year, that we have a better understanding. There's no reason why you can't ask for that, put it in sub-contingency, to get that information, and it goes back out when there's a better clarification of what some of those other responsibilities are moving forward. There's no reason why you can't do that. If that's the board's will, and you want to get a better understanding. Like you said, it's a brand new position, see what was involved this year, what are some of the things that happened, and took place, the money's there, if those are the questions. If not, the will of the board is to move forward, that's fine, but at least if there are questions as to what it was, like you said, because it's a brand new position, you ask for it, that's all.
Okay, Ginny and Barbara.
And then I want to say something if I can.
This position was established, it has a title. The title is Director of Constituent Services. There is a purpose in the job as it was brought forth. To define it as a driver diminishes the job in of itself. I think the questions could be asked, but I think they should have been asked a lot earlier in the process. I think there is a need for it. I think the need could be demonstrated, and we will get those answers. But I certainly will not support abolishing this position.
Barbara, and then Sam.
Again, I don't think this is going about the right way. We've had this budget for weeks now. We've all looked at all these employees that are listed here, and yet it comes up tonight, a little bit of a grandstand, and I resent that. I am in favor of this position.
Samuel first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I like legislator DiCarlo's response. That's a very good one. It's funded, this position's already funded for this year, right up to December 31st. Put it in contingency, put it on rules for next month, or no, personnel for next month. Ask for a job description, and then pull it out of contingency and audit. If you can do it all in 1 month, I think that's fair, that's a good compromise. I have no problem with that.
I want to clear up something. Historically, okay, the county executive always traveled with the deputy county executive, because as Carl pointed out, there's evening meetings, there are weekend meetings. Okay, if that's the case, if the county executive needs security, then that's a separate issue. But this individual, on numerous occasions, and I can go through each one of the occasions, has been driving the county executive around. And if you all feel comfortable spending $44,000 of the taxpayers' money for that position, then so be it. I don't. That's why I'm bringing it up to say, oh, and by the way, thank you, Barbara Scuchamara. This is the way it is. This is the first time you're here. This is your first year. This has always been historically the way the budget has been carried out. This is the night that any legislator can bring up any issue and we discuss it as long as it takes and we vote on it. So I don't know why you seem to have a problem this evening about having a discussion, that you are offended all of a sudden.
Let's vote. All right, I'll close this.
Well, what's the vote on?
I just want to make sure. I just want to make my comment now. Just for the record, Deanie, I did drive you to NICEAG twice because you told me you didn't want to go alone. So just so everyone knows that.
But I didn't say, excuse me.
You said you didn't want to go alone, Albany, and I drove you twice.
I didn't pay you $44,000 to do it.
Okay, all right, we have, I got to tell the truth. Okay.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I just need clarification. Are we moving forward to eliminate this or put it in sub?
Well, I put it.
Let me regroup my brain cells for a second. All right, everyone stop. All right, Deanie made a motion to pull this out of the budget. Anthony, you seconded it?
I second for discussion.
Discussion. Okay, all right, Deanie, you're making a motion to pull this out of the
Yes,
budget.
defund it.
Do we have a second?
It's been seconded by Anthony. Committee is second for discussion.
Oh, it is, all right, I did not know. All right, roll call vote, please, to defund this position.
Legislator Albano.
No.
Legislator Castellano.
No.
Legislator DiCarlo.
No.
Legislator Gross.
No.
Legislator LeBeau.
Yes.
Legislator Nasarino.
No.
Legislator Oliverio.
I'm going to vote no. I'd like to see this in sub-contingency, though, as an equal measure, but that's not important, so.
You can bring it up.
Legislator Scuchamara.
No.
Chairman Acna.
No.
Motion fails.
Sam, do you want to make a motion for
Well,
that?
I'll make a motion,
Introduce
sorry,
it. I'll
I'm going to make
go
a
ahead.
motion to put it into sub-contingency to get, as everybody mentioned, a better understanding of
Personnel
what the position is, regardless of the individual, put in sub-contingency.
Sam, you going to second
Yeah,
that?
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
That's reasonable.
Legislator Albano.
No.
Legislator Castellano.
No.
Legislator DiCarlo.
Yes.
Legislator Gross.
Yes.
Legislator LeBeau.
Yes.
Legislator Nasarino.
No.
Legislator Oliverio.
Yes.
Legislator Scuchamara.
No.
Chairman Acna.
No.
Motion fails.
There it is.
Okay, I have another position. With me, it's again from the executive's budget, it's on the temporary line. Let's see. Here we go. It's page 9. This discussion, we started the discussion last year because someone was being paid under the tourism line, okay? But they were working for the county executive, doing press, taking photos, and then this person was moved over to the temporary line under the county executive's budget for $18,237,025. And in the budget, the county executive approved a $10,824 increase. And I don't understand the necessity, this is a small county, we're less than 100,000 people, to have a press secretary, I don't think it's a necessity. So I'm asking to have this defunded to the tune of $30,000.
Do we have a second?
I'm gonna do the same thing we did last time, second for discussion, but I'll do the same thing I did last time.
Any discussion?
That's okay, it makes it quicker.
I agree with it.
Okay, roll call vote to defund this position.
Legislator Albano.
No.
Legislator Castellano.
No.
Legislator DeCarlo.
No.
Legislator Gross.
No.
Legislator LeBeau.
Yes.
Legislator Nasarino.
No.
Legislator Oliverio.
No.
Legislator Scuchamero.
No.
Chairman Ott.
No.
Chairman Ockman, I would make that.
What's that?
Put it in
Make a motion to put
sub-contingency.
sub-contingency to better get an understanding
Get a job
of what the
description.
specific job description is.
Okay, can
I'll
you
second
second
that.
that? All right, we're going to vote for this position, the funds to go to sub-contingency, to go to Personnel Committee this has,
Right.
roll call vote, please.
Legislator Albano.
No.
Legislator Castellano.
No.
Legislator DeCarlo.
Yes.
Legislator Gross.
No.
Legislator LeBeau.
Yes.
Legislator Nasarino.
No.
Legislator Oliverio.
Yes.
Legislator Scuchamero.
No.
Chairman Ott.
No.
Motion failed.
Yes. There's one more position. It's the IG position that we talked about sunsetting. I don't have the page. So I'd like to have that. It's funded at $74,000. So I'd like to have that defunded, have it removed.
Second?
For discussion, Anthony, or?
Discussion. And a second for the voting.
Second for-
As we've done before.
All right, Legislator Blue made a motion to defund the IG position in the Sheriff's Department. Open for discussion.
No point.
Roll call vote, please.
Legislator Albano.
This is to defund it.
Yes.
Yes.
Legislator Castellano.
Yes.
Legislator DeCarlo.
Yes.
Legislator Gross.
Yes.
Legislator LeBeau.
Yes.
Legislator Nasarino.
Yes.
Legislator Oliverio.
No.
Legislator Scuchamero.
Yes.
Chairman Ott.
Yes.
Where did this come from, ladies and gentlemen? Where did this come from?
We having a discussion. It's already passed. What else?
Anyone, any other business? Wow. Okay, would it be appropriate for me to call for a recess to,
What's your time, Diane?
for Michelle to do calculations? 5 minutes, Michelle? Okay, I make a motion. Do I have to make a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Thank you.
What do you want? Diane? Diane? I read the budget document. After this.
I know.
The envelope, please.
Here you go.
The best supporting legislator in the world, right? Okay. Okay, as it stands, for my colleagues, we are 52,000, am I reading this correct? We are at a 1.72% with this, so I would like to, Sam, I would like to give you the pleasure, we need to adjust our sales tax, increase our sales tax revenue by $22,264. I would like to be at 1.66%, so I'd like to just say, make a motion for $22,500 to adjust.
I'll move that.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're gonna do our projected sales tax at $22,500, and we'll be at the 1.66% tax cap with the adjustments we made tonight.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
As we move forward, I'd like to revisit the last item, that we not the sales tax item, one prior to that, the Inspector General's position. I have to tell you, there was no prior notice given to this body. What was done in caucus, I'm not privy to, I'm the minority rep. But I'm really really upset because all night we've been posturing about how fair and righteous and wonderful our budgetary process is because it's purely transparent. And we try to do the right thing for the people of Putnam County. By eliminating a position without discussion in any of our prior committee meetings, not budget and finance, not personnel, nowhere, to do that, to drop this bomb all of a sudden without discussion after you meet in caucus, I'm really upset. And this has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with fairness and righteousness. Whatever you think about the Inspector General's position or whoever may fill it, the point of the matter is the sheriff has the legal right to appoint these positions, just like our county executive did. That's why I voted to put it in sub-contingency, not eliminate the 2 positions that the county executive created. There's fairness here. That is their department. They know what's best. We can ask for an explanation, put it in sub-contingency, pull it out. And I would have preferred that with the Inspector General, but no, we blatantly, 8-1, vote to eliminate a position that wasn't even discussed at length in any committee meeting. There was nobody who moved to eliminate this. Get me the record to show me where we took a vote to eliminate the Inspector General's position. There wasn't a vote made. It was dropped. It was dumped. I'm really upset about it. I'm upset because there was no transparency with that matter. There was no discussion of that matter, Mr. Chairman. There was no input from the Sheriff's Department or anything. We just cut it. And I believe it's pure, blatant, blazing politics, and it bothers me. It bothers me very much, because that's not what we're supposed to be about. We're supposed to be above that nonsense. I've always tried to be that way. That's why I vote half the time, 90% to 80% of the time with you men and women, because you have good ideas. This was a bad idea. This was wrong. I just want that on record.
Dean first, and then Roger.
I just want to clarify something that you said, Sam. I brought this up at committee, and we did discuss it.
And it was dropped.
Okay. But you made statements that it was never, you're outraged, it was never discussed in public. That's not true. It was discussed.
It was a 3-minute conversation, and it was dropped like a lead balloon that we wanted to touch.
Well, that's the process. And by the way, this evening, you could have made a motion for discussion. So for me, I can only speak for myself, and I hope everyone else speaks, but it's my understanding that that position was to sunset.
That is not true. That is a false.
Excuse me. Okay, you'll have your chance. I don't believe that to be the case. That was my feeling when we had this discussion numerous times, and this is a position that is at $74,000, and with benefits, it's well over $100,000. So I don't see the necessity of it. Thank you.
Roger.
First of all, Legislator Algaria, I'm disappointed in it's politics. It's not politics. I'm disappointed you would make that statement. I'm looking at it from the standpoint that I was understood coming into this legislature that it was a sunset position. I heard that on a number of occasions from people in that particular department as well. And when Mr. Antreri was leaving in January, that position would go away. Secondly, my experience in the military, the IG, the Inspector General, is someone that's only responsible to the base commander, and they act in a capacity all throughout the unit. An IG for Putnam County would act to look at the health department, would help to look at the highway department, all around. Something like that I could support. An Inspector General for improprieties and things like that. But it was done on a base-wide, or in our case, a county-wide level, not in a one particular area. I don't think having someone in your department inspecting yourself is healthy.
Anyone else?
I just wondering if I can comment. I understand your point, Roger. Look, if this were so important to eliminate, why didn't we bring it up in budget and finance? Why didn't we move it in personnel? Why didn't we do it in audit? We had 3 different committees that could have carried this forward. This is what I'm talking about, that it was decided this evening without my knowledge at all. And that's not how any of you ever operated. I don't understand the pall that's hanging over this legislature that we would do such a vote without prior notice. You're minority rep. I'm a Democrat, yes, but I'm still part of this legislature. I should have known this was coming. You ask why I didn't bring it up for discussion? Because I sat here certain somebody would move to either put it in contingency like I had done with the county exec's position, or vote no, we're not eliminating it without discussion. That's what I thought. Maybe I thought too good of this august body. I'm really disappointed. This is the first time, 18 years I've sat here, that I'm disappointed about this. Because I was totally left out of the loop, and you did it hammered. Stop it. Boom! Deal with it, Sam. Deal with it, Sheriff. Deal with it, County. It's wrong, ladies and gentlemen. It really is wrong. Check your hearts and know where this came from and what this is about. This war that's going on here between the DA and the conservatives and the sheriff has got to stop. It's destroying us. It's destroying us. It's nuts.
I'm
done. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Sam, that you feel.
I feel that strongly. I do.
Disappointed. But I have to say, again, you said you made another statement, and I have to clarify it. That you said we somehow discussed this. We did not discuss this tonight. There was no discussion behind that door about this position. Okay, it was my understanding after the committee meeting that people felt this wasn't something that was necessary going forward. You're bringing up a lot of politics, none of which was discussed. But that's your prerogative. If that's your opinion, I respect that. But I want to be very clear, excuse me, I want to be very clear how I came to my decision. And it wasn't based on any of the comments that you made. It was based on the fact that this would be cost savings to justify the raises that I didn't support, okay? That this position would not be necessary going forward, that it would sunset. So, that's it.
Anyone else? As I said in the beginning of the meeting, we had some tough calls to make. The county attorney lost a position here tonight as well. We have that 1.66 elephant in the closet looking at us, and we look at every department. We have to balance it, and it's very, very hard to do. In support of what Roger said, I did speak to the sheriff's office about a countywide IG, which I would support, where you have an inspector general for the whole county, that it's available to every department. Maybe it would have been great to have for the Tilly Foster Farm situation. That's available to all the town supervisors, that we have somebody that goes right, like New York City has that. They have an inspector general's office, and they go and they can look, but I just found it wasn't necessary. It just wasn't, we have to, I mean, Sam, there's nothing left for the soup but the bone. I mean, we'll cut all the meat off. That's it. And we voted. I believe we all voted for what we felt were essential positions. I would love to have an IG. I'd love to give the county attorney her 2 positions. I'd love to have the whole female detective squad. But we just can't do it. And I understand you're upset, but my colleagues and I, we made a very hard decision, and it's tough, but we did it out of purity, and we did it out of pureness of heart.
I wish I'd known about it. Because I would have seconded for discussion. That's what bothers me, is I was certain we would do the right thing and make it transparent. This was a done deal. I'm sorry, you can say whatever you want, put whatever spin you want on it. I have my beliefs, and I'm sure as I sit here, there are many others with the same.
I'm not going to get into a match, but Sam, I've seen some other things go by that you've been involved in that very soon.
Not like this, no.
No. I'm not going to go there. All right, now, Diane, do I read these next 2 items out?
Okay.
Or is, well, what's,
So do we take the final vote?
No, we didn't.
No.
on the sales tax we did, right?
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to read 5A and 5B, but I'm going to read the resolutions, Teeny.
Okay.
I'll move them separately. All right, 5A, approval of the budget resolutions. Resolved that the Putnam County Legislature hereby approves the 2014 budget. Resolutions as pre-filed by the Budget and Finance Committee and amended by the Legislature on October 30th, 2013. And be it further resolved that the individual votes on each budget resolution be made part of this resolution. This is other business. I need a second for this.
No, it's out of committee.
It's out of committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 5B. A resolution adopting the budget for the fiscal year 2014 commencing on January 1st, 2014, making appropriations for the operation of the county government and establishing rates of compensation for officers and employees for the fiscal year 2014. A resolution adopting the budget for the fiscal year 2004, I just read that. Whereas the Putnam County Legislature has met and considered the tentative budget as submitted by the county executive and had held a public hearing thereon pursuant to both Article 7.04B4 of the Putnam County Charter and Section 359 of the County Law of the State of New York. And whereas this legislature has made certain adjustments to the tentative budget as submitted by the county executive, which are included as part of this budget adoption. Now therefore it be resolved that the Putnam County Legislature hereby adopts the tentative budget as amended by this legislature, which sets forth the appropriations for the objects and purposes as specified, and further establishes the rates of compensation to be paid, provided that the said tentative budget, as amended, does not exceed the 1.66 tax cap as provided for in state law. And be it further resolved that this act takes effect on January 1st, 2014. All in favor?
Second for discussion?
Sure. Discussion. Any discussion? Go ahead, Anthony.
Thank you. Prior to taking and casting my vote, I just want to compliment my colleagues. This is my last budget, and those of you who are new on here, this is what it's all about. This is a democratic process. You know, think about it. Our government doesn't have a process because the Senate doesn't take anything anymore that they get from the House. They don't even debate anything. This is what we do. We debate. And quite frankly, we don't rubber stamp anything if you saw it tonight. I can't tell you if you counted how many 5-4 votes there were tonight. Seriously. And that's part of the legislative process. And to all my colleagues, you know, it's healthy. I think it's good. I think that's what we're here to do. We are here to represent the people, our constituents, share opinions. We can agree to disagree, but I know all of us as a group, you know, we'll walk out of here tonight, you know, doing the best that we could have done. We will talk, communicate, you know, be friends and move forward. So I just, you know, I want to thank you for the process. I think it's incredible. I know sometimes you know, I get my enthusiasm up, but it's because it's passionate, and we all do. And if we weren't passionate, we don't belong in these seats. So again, I want to thank everybody for, you know, going through the process, you know, working together, you know, and I think it would be great if we can become unified and show that, you know, we support this budget, we worked hard, some things we got, some things we didn't, but that's a part of what good government is. So I just wanted to mention that, Mr.
Thank you, Anthony. That was very, very good. Anyone else? I know I personally would rather be building a foundation in a 95-degree August day than do this. I've never hated a job so much in my life. And that's the truth. I despise this job. And with that, I ask for a motion to adjourn. We got to vote to, roll call vote for this one.
Legislator Albano.
For the budget adoption, to take effect on January 1st, 2014.
Legislator Castellano.
Yes.
Legislator DeCarlo.
Yes.
Legislator Gross.
Yes.
Legislator LeBeau.
Although I don't agree with a lot of things this evening, and I was outvoted, but I will vote yes for a 1.66 tax increase.
Legislator Nasarino.
Yes.
Legislator Oliverio.
Yes.
Legislator Fujiwara.
Yes.
Chairman Ahern.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Chairman,
Now,
move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Thank you.
All in favor? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.